Josh Anderson was asked about his suspension for hitting Alex Pietrangelo, and his response might surprise you because he thinks Pietrangelo should have deserved a fine or a suspension as well. I'll be talking about that, plus Mike Matheson is back at Habs practice, and finally, Filip Mesar was asked about Suzuki and Caufield, and he clearly really admires them and has a ton of appreciation. You won't want to miss this edition of Habs Digest. Hello, bonjour, ahoy, and welcome to this news edition of Habs Digest for November 11th. I'm your host, Josh Gosse, and right before we get into the video, quick reminder that over 82% of you guys watching are not subscribed, and we have daily Montreal Canadiens content here on the channel, so if you want to stay up to date on your favorite team, we got your back. First topic today, Josh Anderson speaks out on his suspension. And if you're not aware, which I'm sure most of you are aware, but just in case you're not, in a couple of games ago against the Vegas Golden Knights, Josh Anderson went in hard to Alex Pietrangelo near the Vegas Golden Knights bench, hitting him from behind, sending Pietrangelo face first into the boards. It wasn't a great hit, and Josh Anderson got a 2-game suspension for it. But take a look at what he had to say about this recently. Josh Anderson talking about Alex Pietrangelo. He went in hard. I didn't think much of it because he went right back up and sucker punched me. I thought he was okay there. I guess it's okay to knock out your 2 front teeth and not get anything from it. So, it's the way it is. So what he's basically saying here is, if you watch the replay of when he hit Pietrangelo, it looked really bad. Pietrangelo's face hit the edge of the bench, but he got right back up and he was clearly okay, and he's been playing since. No lingering effects, which is good news for Pietrangelo. We don't like seeing guys hurt. But Anderson said he got right up. Anderson thought the hit wasn't that bad. Of course, Pietrangelo was right up, and what he's saying is he turned around and popped Anderson right in the face, right in the mouth with his glove, or maybe even his hand right after the hit. Now, I can't see many angles of that scrum showing exactly when Pietrangelo punches, supposedly, Josh Anderson, but Anderson says it's there. Anderson didn't say that his suspension wasn't deserved, but it clearly seems like he believes Pietrangelo should have gotten something as well. Now, I mean, how many times in the NHL have we seen the retaliator get the extra penalty? You know, in a game, someone slashes you in the leg, the person, you turn around and you slash them right back. It's always the second person that gets the penalty. But in this case, Josh Anderson, of course, you can't board people the way he did. I mean, he deserved the suspension for sure. But he's complaining that why did the league not also look into what Pietrangelo did, getting up and punching Josh Anderson in the face right after? I mean, it didn't make the headlines because the hit was during a play. It was way more evident. We saw it happen, whereas the scrum after was a bit chaotic. We didn't necessarily see everything. But why wasn't Pietrangelo's punch looked at? I'm not sure. Anderson sure seems frustrated with it. Maybe he just wants some consistency. I don't know. I mean, in pretty much every other instance where a player punches someone else, other than maybe in a fight situation, you'll get some talk maybe from the coaches or from the league, something like that. All the same, though, I mean, here's the thing. You board a guy from behind. He turns around and he punches you in the face, and it seems like the NHL is saying that if you do something like that, you board someone like that, you're going to get what's coming to you. You're going to get a punch in the face, a slash in the legs, whatever, because of what you did. I don't know if that's the best precedent to set, but it's not like it's a new precedent. We've seen this all the time before, right? I mean, if there's a dirty hit, dirty play, you're sort of semi-allowed to go after that player right after. But then again, you know, I mean, we've seen in our history, just a couple of years ago, if you watch the Montreal playoff run, another Vegas player punched a Montreal Canadiens player right in the mouth after a whistle, and there was also no call. Is it just a thing with Vegas? No, I don't think so. I don't think this was the league intentionally ignoring Pietrangelo. I just feel like it wasn't brought to their attention, and because of Josh Anderson's board that ended up getting a suspension, they decided not to look at it. I don't think it's a big deal, but let me know in the comments whether you think the league should have maybe looked at Pietrangelo, and do you think Josh Anderson has a point here? So, moving off of Josh Anderson, we got some great news, some nicer news than that sort of dark topic there. Mike Matheson is back at practice. We have a tweet from Renaud Lavoie. C'est le retour de Mike Matheson à l'entraînement avec ses coéquipiers, chandail non-contact, saying that Mike Matheson is back at practice, but he's not wearing a contact jersey. He's wearing a non-contact jersey. And that's the same thing we saw Yoel Armia and Joel Edmondson wearing before they were fully ready to participate. It basically just means that you're not going to go through full drills, any drills that might have any contact, no 5-on-5, no scrimmage, no nothing. You're just sort of going to run through the plays that you can run through, maybe some conditioning, stuff like that. But it's great news that Mike Matheson is finally on his way back from Montreal. And I say back, but you know, he did play in the preseason, but he hasn't played in the regular season yet. We're all excited to see what he can bring to this team. Now, as I mentioned in the last video, there is the question of which defenseman is going to kind of come out of the lineup for Mike Matheson. One of you pointed out in the comments that, you know, I said maybe Jonathan Kovacevic could be sent down, but we can't actually really do that, because if we send him down, he'd have to go through waivers first, and he may end up getting claimed. So thank you very much in the comments for pointing that out. I had completely forgotten about that. So if we want to risk Jonathan Kovacevic maybe getting claimed, what do? Do we waive Chris Weidman? Do we send him down? Do we just... I'm not even sure. I want to know your guys' thoughts. I don't want to send Xhekaj down, because I think we can send him down without a penalty, but like, it's Arber Xhekaj. I don't know, man. I'm really confused as to what Montreal's going to do with this defenseman situation. We got a few weeks to figure it out. Maybe Kent Hughes got a trade in the works, but I want to know your guys' thoughts. In the comments, tell me what you think's going to happen with Montreal's D-core as Mike Matheson is ready to come back into the lineup. And again, as of right now, he's just in a non-contact jersey at practice, so it's not a big deal right now. It's okay. He's definitely not ready to come back in the next week. We should see him, as I've mentioned, maybe sometime in early December, so we have some time to figure it out. But I want to know your guys' thoughts, because I'm really not sure, to be honest. I mean, I'm a Montreal Canadiens YouTube channel, but I really have no idea what we're going to do. It sure seems like Weidman is probably the odd one out, but, I mean, he's got such chemistry with the team. I don't see them just waiving him. I'm not sure. I have to look into it. Maybe we'll get some more leaks in the next couple days, but either way, it's good news that Matheson is on his way back. This defenseman logjam situation, I have full faith in management to figure it out. Maybe I can't figure it out, but I'm sure Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton will eventually be able to do what is best for this team. Final topic today. Filip Mesar admires Suzuki and Caufield. And if you're not sure who Filip Mesar is, I've spoken about him a few times in these videos, but he was a first-round draft pick, I believe 26th overall by Montreal this past season. He's a fellow Slovakian, friend of Juraj Slafkovsky, and it's great to have him in the farm system, and he has been dominating in the OHL for Kitchener. He has looked amazing so far this year. He has a number of goals. He had a big, I believe, 4-point game. Man, he's been great. And he was asked just recently about Suzuki and Caufield, and take a look at what he had to say. This is talking about the preseason and training camp and when he got to play with these guys. Quote, "I was looking at Nick Suzuki because every practice, he's the smartest player on the ice. I don't know how, but he's so smart," said Mesar, who impressed him most on the Canadiens camp. Quote, "I was also looking at Cole Caufield because he's smaller like me. He's so skilled and fast on the ice with a good shot. I want to have a shot like his and be smart on the ice like Suzuki. I want to learn from them." And boy, that's just awesome to hear. Clearly, Nick Suzuki and Cole Caufield are two best players so far this year, and probably moving forward for the next number of years. Clearly left an impression on Filip Mesar. I mean, Mesar's a young guy. He has a ton to learn. He's looked amazing so far. In training camp before the season started, he looked great. I thought there was a chance he maybe made the lineup. But he's down in the OHL doing his thing, playing extremely well at just 18 years old. And look at what he's saying. He wants to learn from Suzuki and Caufield. It's not a cocky young guy who's like, yeah, I have a ton of skill, I'm bringing it to the team. He saw these guys and he was in awe. He's like, oh, wow, I want to know what these guys know. I want to do what they do. Now, obviously, it would be fantastic. I mean, I also want, someone in the Reddit thread commented this, I also want Mesar to have the IQ of Suzuki with the shot of Caufield. I mean, you can't really get the best of both worlds, or maybe you can if you're Filip Mesar. This kid has a ton of potential, so who knows? I mean, the sky's the limit for him and a lot of other Habs prospects, but I thought this was a really cool thing just to sort of mention right at the end of the video, talking about how much of an impression that the Montreal Canadiens players have left on him. I mean, as we've heard throughout the season, the Montreal Canadiens locker room is amazing. Joel Edmondson was speaking on that a couple days ago. There's so much chemistry between the guys. Mesar's great friends with Slafkovsky. Clearly Suzuki and Caufield were nice to him and they like him, so it's just awesome news. It's a cool thing to hear, and yeah, I'm excited to see what Mesar can do for Montreal in the future. But that'll do it for today's news edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We're at 1,700 subs now. We're going for 2,000. We're so close, just 300 more to go. So if you could like and subscribe, it would mean the world to us here. I've been Josh Gosse. We'll catch you in the next video.